when you were talking about you know the things that you need to do, but you're not moving, you're not taking action. And when you find that yourself in that position, hiring someone like you, to coach and hold you accountable and kind of be there with you, I think is also very important.
That is important. And I'm going to add too, because I think the community, there's a lot of coaches out there, and they all tout this community. I never got a huge advantage.
Are you feeling burnt out? Perhaps you're a female entrepreneur, you want to grow your business, you want to thrive, but you're looking for the right coach and the right community. Go to margospilde.com. She is the Empower Her Wealth coach, but she believes in building community. She believes in slowing down, working less, but still being able to live a life of abundance. She's an author and has an incredible coaching program. She's going to talk to you about mindset, getting past your limiting beliefs, and so much more. Check out margospilde.com today and learn how to create a life of abundance while still running an incredible, successful business. Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I'm your host, Angela Duncan. Today's episode, I get to interview Margo Spilde. You know, I love teaching about money and entrepreneurship. And when I can bring someone on who is on a similar mission, it is just incredible. Her company is Empower Her Wealth. We're going to talk about the limiting beliefs, bringing awareness to that, how to ask for help. She is an author, so we're going to talk about her incredible book and where you can pick it up. And she's got a freebie for you, so it'll definitely help you on your entrepreneur journey. Check out this episode. Hi, Margo. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Such a
Yeah,
pleasure.
I'm excited because you teach some of the things that I similarly teach, and I love hearing, different variations and just all about women and money. But obviously, you have a history. We all have a history. So, kind of walk us through, how did you get to what you're doing today?
Oh yeah. So I actually grew up on a farm, and I always start with that, but I think it's such a baseline for people that and if you haven't been on a farm, or you don't know anything about it, you don't realize what kind of benefits that come from that background. And as I thought about it, a couple of those really important benefits was, first of all, the freedom. The only boss is really Mother Nature. And so we got to choose what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it. And as I grew up and got into college, I never wanted to let that go. Just the
Mm.
thought of working for a boss, it felt so constricting to me. And so I had this taste of freedom. And then the other side of it is multiplication. You put the seeds in the ground, and you just maybe it's one truckload of seeds, but then in the fall you bring out truckload after truckload after truckload of the same seed that you put in the ground. And so I got to see how you can create something out of very little, and I understood how multiplication worked. It was so interesting because I have a friend who I met him, and he does farming, and he has been the easiest person for me to teach because he just got it. He said, "Oh, okay, I have one cow. Now I can have many cows." I'm like, "Yeah, that's exactly what it is." And so that's what creating wealth is. It's figuring out that multiplication, and there really aren't any limits to what you can create. And if you understand that, you can take that and bring it in other places, and especially in money. And so I was learning all this stuff about money, I knew this was my thing. And I had taken a course and this one was about raising private money. And one day in that course, the whole day was dedicated to understanding how people with money think? And he kept going over, what do you think about people that have money? And it was, they do this, they do that, they, and I was just feeling really small and kind of shrinking down in my chair. And I kind of pushed my purse under the table. I'm like, I don't want anybody to see my purse and think something about me. And that was really a moment for me where I thought, gosh, I have these two sides of me where I believe abundance. I believe wealth is possible. I believe that I can create it. But this little, junior high kid, the storyline is still in my background that says money is bad. Don't be the rich kid. And so I had to kind of rectify those two people and, those two ideas inside of me. And I think so many of us have that same thing going on. Um, I was super, super fortunate one day. This lady helped me. She walked me through this exercise. It was so quick. And it was just all about my body positioning and my body language. And that was the moment when I realized, no, I need to stop hiding from money and pretending that I don't want to have abundance and make an impact. I need to just embrace that. And this is my gift. And, it was given to me and am really good at it. So let's just embrace it and create women creating wealth. And so that's kind of where this came from. And it's just been a really long and fun journey.
Yeah. So one of the things that you said, having abundance and creating impact, I firmly believe in the same. The more that we can create abundance in our lives, the bigger impact we can have on people around us. And then something else you mentioned too is kind of that limiting belief. So talk a little bit more about that, because I think even as you get more successful in life, if you don't deal with that limiting, your own belief, then you're going to hit your own ceiling over and over. So how do we kind of work through or overcome that limiting belief?
Oh yeah, that is so true. And I think we all have limiting beliefs. We just don't know what they are. So awareness is really the first thing. What is it that's stopping me? And I remember there was a day, this was over 20 years ago, and I was standing in my living room looking out. We had these big windows in the front. I was looking out, kind of looking out at the whole world, right? And I thought, why can't I do what I say I'm going to do? I was so frustrated with myself because keep saying I'm going to do this, going to do this, going to do this, and I don't. And so I kind of made a decision in that moment, I'm going to figure it out. And so having that awareness and making a decision, that's a big part of it. And then asking for help. Right?
Mm.
So I don't know all the answers clearly, or I would be doing something differently. So who can I talk to? What kind of a support system can I put in place? And then I have to accept that help. I have to accept that there's another alternative, that I can do something different than I've always done. And when I started doing that, that's when I really started seeing success and overcoming those challenges, right? So just making a decision, taking some small steps, consistently, that's important. And then getting a community around you, specifically women, I think. And you need women that are a little bit ahead of you.
Yeah. Now, asking for help, why we struggle so much with that. We're so willing to help other people. We're heart driven, women, entrepreneurs, but asking for that help is just such a struggle. And sometimes, even myself, I'm more than willing. What can I help you with? And then when someone asks me the same, I shut down a little because I don't want to ask for help.
Yes, yes. Learning to ask for help and accept it is it's a journey. That part is hard. And I remember this man was trying to help me carry a box. Well, I grew up on a farm. I can carry a box out to my car. And my one friend said, "Oh, she doesn't like to get help." I'm like, there we go. There it
Yeah.
is.
So asking for help, but also be willing to accept it as well. So it's like you've got to have both of those together. And having
Right.
a coach in your life too. When you were talking about you know the things that you need to do, but you're not moving, you're not taking action. And when you find that yourself in that position, hiring someone like to coach and hold you accountable and kind of be there with you, I think is also very important.
That is important. And I'm going to add too, because I think the community, there's a lot of coaches out there, and they all tout this community. I never got a huge advantage from the community, and I didn't understand it. But then I went to graduate school, group, group process. And when I learned the dynamics of how we transform, right? It's our heart and our mind and this relationship that we have with each other. And I learned the dynamics of that. And so I implement this group process, this group development into everything I do. And it really does speed up and deepen the learning that you can get. And you can do that, you can just create that for yourself. And that goes right back to being willing to ask for help and then being open to accepting and hearing the help. So it's such a powerful aspect that you can create in your own life.
Hmm. So, being a female entrepreneur, we might have more things on our plate, right? We might have family, we might have kids while building our business. And I think we still kind of have this mindset of the hustle, right? So, we have to put in so much time in order to have a bigger return. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are around that topic.
Oh, that is a great topic. Yeah, that is one big thing that it's hard to let go of. I run into so many people and women that we have to work harder, we have to work harder, we have to work harder, but then we burn ourselves out, and we can't help each other because even your loved ones, you're so burned out, you can't help them. And so when you get down to the core of creating wealth or finding abundance in your life, it's actually slowing down and
Hmm.
working smarter, not working harder, that gets you bigger results. And some of the things that I teach is using less of your hours to make a living, right? So can you do it more efficiently? And then freeing up time and hours over here that leaves your brain able to think and to process and to be creative. And that is your wealth creating hours. And so you can do that with your time. You can do that with your money. You want to have, for example, you want to have reserves over here on one side, but you also need to have money that's seed money that's creating more. And so usually you have more advantages in creating wealth and being successful as a business person when you slow down and you
Hmm.
can think. You can use that time to write notes. And I have found myself, I actually block out time every morning. Most mornings, not every morning, but I like to have this quiet time and my phone doesn't turn on till almost 9 o'clock. It doesn't ring because I get more done if I can have that time to think and I write down the ideas that come to me. And I look like I'm, working like crazy, but really I'm just writing those ideas down.
Yeah, and that's powerful too. I'm very similar. My brain, I feel like, works best in the morning. So blocking that time in the morning when I am at my most creative self really can help you, can help your business, help your clients. So I like that time blocking aspect. And the counterintuitive of what you said of slowing down in order to be more productive. A lot of people don't think that way. So I love that approach to what you're teaching as well. You are an author, a published author. I would love for you to talk about, that journey, how you got your book published, and kind of why you decided to go and become an author.
Oh, that's a great question. So I actually started writing this book. It's been close to 25 years ago now. And I had one child, young child, and I just felt it was just this push that I was supposed to write a book. And I was a terrible writer. I mean, bad, very, very bad. and no transitions. I don't like, so it was just one thought and one thought and one thought and one thought, and they didn't transition or flow. But and then we moved, and by the time I finished, I had 2 kids, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I put this book, and I was so worried about technology. And so I printed it out so it looked like a book, and I put it in a file folder in this file cabinet. And then I went on with life, and I have 3 kids now. And one day I was cleaning or I was looking for something, and I pulled out this file, and I thought, what? I did not know what it was. And I pulled it out and I opened it up, and it was my book. And I could not believe it. Who writes a book and doesn't remember? Right. But it was the perfect timing. And
Hmm.
so, and I had a friend who had, we'd become friends, and she now was working at a publishing house, and she was a ghostwriter, and she helped push me into finishing this book. And of course, the first part is a little like I've rewritten it so many times. It's a little clunky at first, but the content is amazing for walking people through clarity. And then section 2 was all of the stuff that I've learned in the 20 years after about money and creating wealth. And so it's really interesting how the timing just works out amazingly. And I just knew that this had to be available for people. My friend was so gracious. And it's just been a blessing to people. And I know clarity is
What is the
hard
name of the
thing to
book?
find. It's called Live Your Life of Abundance. Sorry. And you can get it on Amazon. You can get it most places, but Amazon's super easy. But it really gives you that clarity of what you want, which is the core of motivation. Why do you want it? And then we also have a free workbook that you can download that I made, and we've got some classes that I've put together that kind of go along with the book too.
Yes, right. You just said one of my favorite words, free. So talk about the freebie and where can our audience find it?
Oh, yeah. So if you go to margospilde.com, there's a link on there, and it's just a free workbook that you can download and go. And the whole section is about this journaling what you want, and just tapping into what you want, why you want it, and kind of creating an emotion around that. And then you can literally conquer anything that you want once you have that emotional tie. And the interesting thing, because I said I wrote it so many years ago, when I went back to edit it, I realized that a bunch of the things that I had written down had already happened. So I
Mm.
had created that in my life without even remembering that I had written it down. And that's just manifestation, right? Just
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah. So you talked about time blocking and writing things down, and your free resource helps us to be able to do that. So I love that. We'll make sure to put the website in our notes here for that freebie. Any final pieces of advice that you want to give to the audience, female entrepreneurs, around the money topic?
Yeah, I think the first thing that you wanna do is you want to, like I said, really decide what you want, but then surround yourself with women who want similar things as you. And it's just what I teach is mostly transitioning how you're utilizing or where you're putting your money right now. And that's so it's not as scary as it seems, because we all think, right, money is linear. We think I have to, and then I have to make the money, then I have to save the money, I have to live on less than that, then I have to get this great return, and I have to wait 30, 40 years. And it actually doesn't necessarily work that way. If you get the right strategies in place, you can speed it up. And so if you're a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, you actually have so much more benefit than the average employee, because you can do 2 things. You can run a business, and then you can create wealth at the same time. And man, if you're doing 2 things at once, that's easy. You're making quadruple results.
Yeah. So give us the website again, where to find you.
margospilde.com, and it's Margo spilde.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been an incredible conversation. I love talking to women who help other entrepreneurs, other women to create generational wealth. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Empower Her Money podcast. I am grateful for you. Please make sure to leave us a 5-star review, like this podcast, share it, subscribe, and let's keep teaching others how to take control and be empowered with their finances.